is where the fun begins.
Hello there. How's it going?
Hey gang, Hybrid here, and today we're taking a look at the Star Wars The Black Series STAP and Battle Droid from the Phantom Menace. This is our Hasbro Pulsecon 2024 exclusive, and I'm super happy to report I was able to snag two. They're still in stock, so maybe by the end I'll be able to encourage you to go grab one or not. For the price of $49.99, what do we get here? Well, I'll elaborate more in the review, but you do get some really cool special throwback packaging with a ginormous window showing everything off, and it just looks like it jumped right out of the 90s. Actually, I bought this last year at ICCC in 3.75 form. I'll talk about that in the review too. But I actually have experience with the original version of this product in this package, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, let's get into the review, see if this was a good pickup. It's one of my most favorite vehicles in Star Wars, and I just can't believe we have it in the line. So, that said, let's go. This item's so big, I'm struggling to even get it entirely in frame on the overhead camera stand, but we're going to do our best. So, this is very special retro packaging, much like we saw with the Darth Maul on Speeder last month. So this is a very, very large window showing our Battle Droid on the STAP and some accessories very nicely. You have your warning, your 4+, your 25th of the Phantom Menace logo there. Some really cool jungle art in the background. Kind of looks more like Dagobah than Naboo in my opinion, but it's still very cool. The very retro red and black Darth Maul Phantom Menace logo. STAP and Battle Droid, a nice gold border. You got your Hasbro logo. Up top, you just have your Star Wars logo again with your STAP and Battle Droid. Some wraparound window, your logo again, and then a cool picture of the droid on the STAP from the movie, and then the name again, and some information about it being a 6-inch scale figure. You have the same thing over here, except this side says it includes a stand. I miss when they would actually put, like, real pictures on stuff. Now everything's got to be art and stuff, and, like, art's cool, but, like, I mean, this just feels like childhood here, for me personally. Around back, another logo, another name, a big picture again, a bio in varying languages, pause and read whichever one applies to you. You have your Black Series logo, and then a bunch of legal stuff, your Hasbro, your Disney. So and this bottom half's probably where it deviates most from the original packaging, if I had to guess. And down below, your barcode and a bunch of legal stuff. So, very retro, however, with every modern flavor you could ask for on a modern figure box. Without further ado, let's get into the review. Alright, here's our B1 and STAP out of the packaging. As always, we're going to start with the figure and the accessories. So I will set the STAP off to the side. That's the more impressive thing here anyway. So centering up on the B1, we'll start by looking, well, that's just a standard Battle Droid feature, isn't it? The easy topple effect. So he comes with several accessories. He comes with the standard Battle Droid blaster we've seen several times in the line now, cast in a dark gray plastic with actually a nice bit of silver dry brushing over it just to give it a metallic weathering. Looks very good, holds in the hand nicely, or it stores on the side of the backpack. Now the backpack is where things get pretty neat here. This is the same backpack we've seen on many others, but it has the 1138 symbols there, referencing a George Lucas short film from pre-Star Wars times. And they did this on a Battle Droid in the Phantom Menace. It was just a little nod if you know it thing. So this actually makes this a unique Battle Droid. This is Battle Droid number 1138. The backpack pegs into his back like so and is stored nicely. Alternatively, you could give him the antenna, which kind of just removes the backpack and pegs in as a solo antenna instead. Never really a thing I've done with any of mine. Now, as I get the Battle Droid to stand up, which is a bit of a challenge. Thankfully, this one's just going to live on the STAP. There we go. I do want to also acknowledge that this is one of our first unique decos on a droid in a while. It's not just the 1138. So, for the longest time, they have been painting the Battle Droids to look like this. This is the... It could be the red box, or the retro card, or the one from the Disney Droid Depot pack. Doesn't matter, they all had the same decos on the same spots everywhere. As you see, the weathering between these two is different. And of course, this is from the Clone Trooper Battle Droid 2-pack, and it's very clean. So we have a third variation of Battle Droid here, which is actually really cool to see. We don't get that in the line super often, so I'm very happy to see this. Just, even if it was just random splattering weathering, it would be alright. So ultimately, it is what you would expect it to be. It is a nice tan color. has a lot of just brown kind of wash applied pretty heavily. A couple little silver paint spots on the high points to insinuate some of that tan paint is scraped off. The joints, you know, are pretty clean on this one. Some of the others, they've put a little bit of silver paint around the joints. But all in all, it looks like a tan battle droid with an 1138 on the back. So, looks really good. Honestly, not even really going to run through the articulation. We've done this a few times now at this point. The battle droid's actually pretty well articulated. Something else, on this one at least, the trigger fingers are sticking out a little bit. I think that's just from being left in the box on the STAP for so long. On the other ones, they stick out a little more than the bottom, but not significantly. I don't think this is a new mold. I think this is just from the way they were packed, because they're packed on the speeder. So, that's it for the droid. Setting him aside, let's go ahead and bring in the STAP. The STAP looks amazing. It's a really nice kind of orangey brown. It's very Phantom Menace, you know, droid vehicle looking, and I just adore this. I've always been more preferring of the blue Clone Wars version, and I hope that we see this repaint very, very soon. I'm sure it's coming. But I've definitely preferred that look, and so when I saw this, I was like, you know, it's not the one I want, but, like, I'm gonna buy two anyway, and I'm super happy I did. It's a very nice color. There's a lot of gunmetal silver punch-ins, like on those engine intakes there on the brackets for the foot pads. The upper core support thing is just gray plastic, but then you get some gunmetal on the blasters and on the vent there behind. The controls are sculpted very, very nicely. You have some nice, like, engine, you know, burners in the back there, looking super cool. The feet rests, the foot pedals on mine are a little warped. They're not adjustable. I think it was just from how the figure was packaged. It's one of those things where when you put it on the shelf and you take a step back, like, you won't notice. But at least on this particular one that I've opened, they are a little misshapen. You have some nice little simulated weathering, and just a couple little silver scuffs here and there. This is a lightly used, but definitely used STAP. Has a very nice stand going on. It's a very large, like, guitar pick like type of shape, but larger, of course, than a pick. And it's got about a 2-inch-ish post sticking up. The post at the bottom goes on with a ball joint, so you can, you know, tip the STAP. You can technically tip it real far, of course, and then your stand tips over. Of course, I'm sure you could turn the stand like so to give you a little bit more of a leg. That's about what you're going to get, which is enough to get you some attitude out of it, but it doesn't let you get, like, too crazy. It definitely gets top heavy real quick, especially, I'm sure, once you put the droid on top. The STAP can also come off of the stand. You just have to kind of pull it out. It's got a couple little nubbins that stick out there that just kind of make it, you know, click into place. Admittedly, it's a lot less fun when you have it off. Of course, you could always, like, lay it on the ground in the back of a battlefield, you know, for some photography or whatever. So you've got some options. I think mine are just going to live on the stands forever. Now, something I'd like to point out is technically we've had some 1/12 scale STAPs for a while. This is the 1999 Phantom Menace STAP in the 375 line. And if you note, other than the stand being shorter, which makes the vehicle stand shorter, when you actually overlay it, this new one is not that much bigger than the old one. When I was walking around ICCC last year, which is coming up in a couple weeks again, and keep an eye out for the vlogs from myself, Blitz Transmission, Skywalker Hendrix, you know, of course, the big channels Out of the Basement. Like, there's going to be some good content. But when I saw this STAP, it was new in box in the same packaging as this was retro packed into. I was like, that battle droid looks tiny on this thing. I mean, I've gotten rid of the battle droid figure, but, like, his head was, like, down here and his hands were just, like, way up on the handlebars. And I was like, that battle droid is just way too little for this. They sculpted this thing way too large for the time. And as we see, putting them side by side here, it's almost 1/12 scale, and that was what I kind of said then, is like, you know, it's maybe a little small for Black Series, but it's definitely a lot big for 375. If the figures were like a 5-inch scale, like Character Options Doctor Who figures are, it would probably be perfect. So I've been using some of these on the display for a while, just as fill-ins. Not that I expected Hasbro to do it quick, but I figured maybe someday. And they actually reprinted it in 08 for the Clone Wars movie in the Clone Wars color scheme, and this was painted very nice. Some of these might stay on my shelf until we get the better modern repaint. But yeah, I mean, like, I could not have guessed a year ago that I would be reviewing this now. And it is just insane that we finally have this in the line. This is such a cool vehicle, one of my most favorites from the prequel era. And as far as speeder bikes and the like go, this is definitely my favorite speeder in all of the universe. And it's just a cool piece. Now, I'm going to show you loading up the battle droid. It's not super hard. You just kind of got to fiddle with it a bit. So let me pause and reposition a little bit. Once you get the droid on there, of course, the camera just needs to be a bit higher. So the feet pedals have pegs on the back, and you kind of just have to pre-pose the battle droid. It's kind of like riding a Segway or something, you know, where you kind of have to lean back a little bit. I've never ridden one. I really, really like Paul Blart Mall Cop. And if anyone knows, like, a single girl that would like to watch that with me, I think that'd be like a great date night. But both of the movies, we have to marathon them. Otherwise, what's the point? But here you go. You just kind of got to fiddle with them, get them locked in. And it's like putting any figure on a vehicle. You know, you're just going to have to work with it until you finally get them positioned in a position that looks somewhat natural. And, well, I guess there are no natural positions when it comes to the battle droids. But here's the battle droid on the STAP, swooping in, you know, to save the day for the glory of the Trade Federation. And he just looks oh so cool up on that stand. And I really, really love how this turned out. It's just an amazing, eye-catching piece, and I'm super happy to have two of them that are going to be flanking my droid army shelf. And of course, I'd be doing my job wrong if I didn't do a size comparison. Of course, it towers over everything because it's a skinny vehicle, but it sits up rather high. When you put the Maul Speeder next to it, you do see why the Maul Speeder costs a little bit more. There's definitely a bit more going on there sculpt-wise, and of course featuring a new figure and that separate tracker droid. But this towers over everything, I believe, in an adequate way that will definitely make it pop on your droid shelf. Let's get into the wrap-up. So at the end of the day, what do I think of the Black Series Battle Droid and STAP? What an amazing convention exclusive, just super awesome vehicle pack. I really love this. Hasbro's been on a roll lately between the Darth Maul and the speeder bike and the STAP, and I really hope that everyone continues to show up for it. I have loved these vehicles that they've been coming out with. I hope it continues on. Word on the street is that there's some Revenge of the Sith ones coming out next year, presuming that these sold well. With the Maul Speeder selling out, like, on the first day, and this one, while it hasn't sold out, I'm assuming it's because they made a larger quantity knowing that they're army buildable and people would be buying multiples, whereas in the mall, you know, probably the majority would buy 1, 2 tops. So it is what it is, but I do hope that these sell out at one point just to show Hasbro, you know, hey, like, we want these vehicles. I think the big thing with the vehicle line, and there might be a Topical Tuesday to come on this, is just so many people played clearance chicken, and some of the choices were just bizarre. But now that they're starting to give us some prequel vehicles, I really hope that us cloners, our cloner brain rot generation, continues to show up, because this is just exactly what I want from the line. I love this. This is probably one of my most favorite releases of the year, and that's saying something, because this year has been cooking. I mean, even just talking about the droids, they have been cooking this year. So anyway, I'm going to go work on another video for now. Thanks a bunch for watching. It means a lot that you did. If you enjoyed, you should leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that end of video stuff. I'll catch you next time. Until then, may the Force be with each and every one of you, and goodbye.